233. The City and Order. Chalcedon Report number 154, June 1978. The historian Sylvia L. Thrupp, in Society and History, 1977, wrote on the city as the idea of social order. For her, the idea of order was an invention of man early in history, and the city became the expression of cosmological order. The city represented the fact of order, authority, and purpose which was inherent in the universe. Order was thus seen as basic to the nature of the universe, and for man to live in terms of reality meant that man had to be in line with ultimate order. The city was thus a religious entity. Then cities developed another concept of their being. They were expressions of social order, of the proper relationship between man, between ruler and ruled. Some forms of urban planning, as with Plato's Republic, combined the ideas of cosmological with social order to set forth an opinion concerning perfect order, the just or moral order in terms not of God, but an idea. The doctrine of progress and/or evolution was added to this by some thinkers to set forth the doctrine of the city as basic to the future and its perfection. With the Enlightenment, another concept began to appear, and in Montesquieu became vocal: the city as a product of economic order. Some added to this their belief in the city as the home of deism and enlightenment. Voltaire saw the city as the home of pleasure, a concept very powerful since his day. The 19th century saw still further concepts set forth: the city as the centre of a racial culture, or of a bureaucracy, or of culture conceived as the arts, the city then becoming an aesthetic experience. Romanticism arose about the same time, and, very powerful in the 20th century, has been in revolt against the idea of the city. Romanticism has influenced many sociologists to view the city as pathological. With this brief survey in mind, let us examine the implications of our present situation. What has happened? At the beginning, the city represented religious order. Later, it came to represent various ideas of social order, political, economic, cultural, experiential, and so on. Modern man, however, tends to be, even when he is agreeable to the city, anti-order. The intellectuals have become hostile to law and order. Both words, together or singly, are anathema to them. The existentialist impulse is against a prescribed law or order, and, as a result, is an enemy to the city, even when most a part of it. The result is a basic conflict. Some doctrine of order is essential to the life of a city, but the intellectual, the urban man par excellence, is hostile to the very foundation of urban existence, a doctrine of order. The modern city is totally indifferent to any concept of religious order as basic to its life. It regards industry as a necessary evil to be controlled and taxed as much as possible. Social order is gone because, without a common faith and goal, next-door neighbours are usually strangers. Such order as a city may have is political power and police authority. The politician is increasingly distrusted, and the police are outmanned by the lawless and criminal elements. The police power can give good and clear order when the majority of people subscribe to a doctrine of order, but when most are at heart orderless and lawless, the police power begins to lose efficacy. In brief, modern man complains bitterly about the growing disorder and lawlessness of urban life, but fails to recognize that his own life and faith are in essence antinomian and lawless. Modern man is getting the kind of society and city he believes in. No idea of order can long survive unless it is grounded in a doctrine of theological order. If God and his decree, his order, are not basic to all reality, then all doctrines of order are empty and rootless. If chaos and disorder are ultimate in the universe, or if man believes that they will be basic to his life and action. Some years ago, I visited in prison a brilliant young thief, head of a criminal gang of thieves. All were college men. His rationale was simple. Everything in his education made it clear that no God exists, and that all religion and morality were myths. Hence, he held, the sensible man will establish his own lifestyle and try to get all he can for himself. Next time, he added, he would be wiser in the conduct of his faith. His logic was sound, but his premise was false. His logic had been the logic of countless persons in this existentialist generation. It has turned the city into a place of disorder. Once the city walls kept out disorder, now men hope that the walls of their house will keep out disorder. As the psalmist said, "Except the Lord build a house, they labour in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain." Psalm 127, verse 1. The restoration of the city requires more than urban renewal and money. It requires a faith in the triune God as the source of order, and in the New Jerusalem as a goal of society. It requires theological foundations for urban life and for the doctrine of society. Law must become biblical. Humanistic law hastens decay and collapse. Education is a religious fact. It must become biblical in nature. The family is not simply a cultural and biological entity, it is a religious order established by God. Unless in every area of life and thought we see the biblical foundations and the prescribed order, we will soon see them in none. If we view all order simply as a human invention, then we have made disorder ultimate, and it will prevail in our lives. Theology is still queen of the sciences. It is not dethroned by man's rebellion. Rather, by their rebellion, men sentence themselves to death. Wisdom is God and his order, and declares from of old, "He that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death." Proverbs chapter 8, verse 36.